Joining us now is Suzan Johnson-Cook. She was formerly United States Ambassador-at-Large for International Religious Freedom. Ambassador, thanks very much for joining us. Well, what do you think the United States can do about this? As you know, there are people who are being endangered, and you know this better than anyone because you worked on these issues all over the world. Why is the U.S. all of a sudden deciding to come to the aid of these people in Iraq?
The president has been on top of this issue for quite a while. It's escalated to such a point that the Americans have to get involved. The U.S. set the model and the standard in terms of religious freedom. We have it in our Constitution. Other countries don't have that. And so unless America steps in many times, other countries don't have the benefit of it. When it's at a point of young people, old people only having a choice of either converting or dying, then that's not much of a choice. So they've now fled, they're in the mountains, they're really at risk. And it's in a point that the Americans have to step in. We're the model. We hope that there'll be other international partners that will jump in. But as we know, there are problems all over the world, but it's escalated in Iraq.
Isn't this the responsibility of the government of Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki to protect their own people? Why aren't they doing anything?
We can't answer why they aren't doing it. They do need to protect all of their religious minorities. This is very much a religious freedom issue. We can't answer why they are not. When they do not protect, then we have to step in. It is our hope that there would be a humanitarian approach and that they would protect all of its citizens. That is not the case, and so the U.S. has to step in. You know, it's been an ongoing problem. It hasn't just really started. I mean, Congress as well as the administration have been very, very concerned. You know, in the last 3 annual reports for international religious freedom, Iraq was really at the top of the list in terms of how absent the religious freedom issue was. Because we could not go to Iraq, we were able to meet with the Christian diaspora and now the Yazidi diaspora who are in the United States. They're still a minority, but they, you know, they date back prior to Islam, to Christianity, and to Judaism. So they've been there for a while. They have been disappearing by the hundreds of thousands. It was over 1 million about 5 years ago. Now they're at less than 500,000. So we really have to be very, very concerned.
Ambassador, you served in this administration. You know the pros and the cons. You also know that hundreds of thousands of Iraqi Christians, Yazidis, Kurds, others, they're endangered. The president himself, the Secretary of State, they've said the word genocide right now. Here's the blunt question to you, Ambassador. If necessary, would you send in U.S. Army, Marine personnel on the ground to destroy those ISIS forces?
Well, you know what? I'm a faith leader. I've never served in the military. I leave that to the colonel and to those who are military leaders, and we have to put our faith in them to make the right decisions. They know what to do. But what I can tell you that this is war. It's a religious war, and many lives are being extinct, actually. We're talking about if there are only about 350 to 400,000 Christians left in Iraq because of the mass exodus, and 100,000 of those are fleeing now in this particular time. You're talking about a whole ethnic religious group being extinct. You started the last segment with a beautiful baby who's 40 days old. Usually in the Christian faith and in any faith, you celebrate the life and the life that's ahead of that particular child. Right now we're talking about not necessarily celebrating life because this child and their family is preparing for death. So we are at a very grave crisis, and I know that we're at a religious war. So the United States has to make the best decision based on our leadership that we have. Well, if you know, evacuating means that we're running away from the crisis. I think the U.S. is saying we stand very much with all of those who need to be protected. Evacuation is not the answer, but I do know that the United States will do whatever it has to do to protect its personnel and the religious minorities who are at stake at this point.
Ambassador Johnson-Cook, thanks very much.